Hi, my name is Cater, and I'm a graphic designer. You're probably wondering, why is your first video talking about movies? So, I want to use this channel to use one of my passions, graphic design, to talk about all of my other passions, which is album cover design, book cover design, movie poster design, the Olympic mascot design, Tamagotchis, whatever it is, I don't care. But all these different corners of pop culture and how graphic design is tied with those. So in this video, I'm using my graphic design background to design title cards for each of the movies that I'm talking about. So yeah, let's get started. I hate to be mean to this movie. I watched some movies after this, so this wouldn't be last on my list, because this is a good-natured, independent horror film, a dog and a man trying to survive, and it's so low budget, but it still made it to theaters, and it's a guy taking a little bit of time out of his day to film with his dog, and it's cute, but I have to be real with myself. I am so allergic to this type of horror where it's like a ghost that sometimes exists, sometimes it doesn't, which I get is the concept of ghosts, but this is what I mean. Like, they turn off a light and they see a silhouette and they turn the light back on and then he's gone. Or all these light switches are just flickering on and off. What is the ghost doing? Just messing with the lighting of the house? It's just not a logic I can believe in. I do not believe that ghosts would be visible and not be visible, and then be a silhouette, and then mess with lighting and our doors and creak slowly around the house. It's not what I would believe they would do. It's just not a world that I believe in. It's the opposite of One Battle After Another, where that movie made 3 hours feel like 70 minutes. This is 70 minutes, and I was really checking my phone. So I'm sorry, good boy. I just gotta be real with myself, but you should see this movie. A lot of people really like it. Black Phone 2. And it is just as contrived and laughable as its tagline, "Dead is just a word, would leave you to believe." Half of this movie is exposition explaining why it should exist. What is winter camp? Okay, this is one of the movies I was talking about when I said I watched a bad movie so it could be 100 and Good Boy wouldn't have to be. And this is somehow more enjoyable to me. Mr. Peanut signed a treaty of surrender with President Bill Clinton. While in Detroit, Kid Rock threw a party celebrating the defeat of the Robot Equality Coalition. Real line from this movie. Mr. Peanut, voiced by Woody Harrelson, is the Malcolm X of the Disney animatronic robot uprising. It's a movie with sympathy for clankers. It's a no-go for me. We do not tolerate clankers on this channel, and it's designed for your coworker to come up to you and be like, "Hey, you see Star-Lord and Eleven are in a new Netflix movie?" It's a movie that will not exist in 5 years and cost more than Barbie and Oppenheimer combined. It's likely money laundering. So, yeah. No on this one. Opus has the desire and the resources to be the next cult horror film, which has been really popularized by Jordan Peele and Ari Aster. It wants to be the next Get Out, Hereditary, Midsommar, The Menu, but it just doesn't have any of the juice or the ideas or the execution. Yeah, I did not enjoy this movie at all. A Minecraft movie. Not the Minecraft, just one of the many that will exist. There were 12 applause breaks in this movie. Kids were losing their ever-loving minds. But they're going to the movies. You know, that's what we love to see. It doesn't capture what I love about the game, but this was just not a movie for me. Kristen Stewart and Steven Yeun play a buoy and a satellite. And it's conceptually very similar to Everything Everywhere All at Once, but with 2007 Microsoft Xbox Live animation. So, not for me. How to Train Your Dragon. This is a live-action remake of a 15-year-old movie. They made 2010 animation a storyboard. Like, you can't do that. Can't be doing that. I don't know why we're stooping this low. My girlfriend, she pointed out, I was thinking in my head during the first scene that the whole, the opening scene of this movie, like, I've never noticed set design more, and not in a Jack Fisk good way, but, like, I was like, if I knock on one of these walls, it's just gonna fall. And my girlfriend, she's not the type to really notice these things, and we were watching this because she was excited for the movie, and she was like, this does not look real. I feel like if I breathed in one of these houses, it would, like, the sets would fall apart at the seams. And I just started laughing, because it's the type of thing I was thinking, but I just am figuring my brain is noticing these things, but, like, nobody else. This is the one thing that I'm going to be cynical about. You know, like, things like Good Boy and Black Phone 2, I'm glad they exist, and if they make sequels, I will go see them happily. This is the type of thing that I don't want to exist. I think is frustrating, because, you know, her comment about the set design shows that this is made, the story and the characters and everything here was made for animation. Like, they look a little silly, a little childish, because it's from a kid's book made to an animated film. The medium just does not cross over unless you change things significantly. But it's one-for-one remake because it's the same director. He wanted it to be done right, so I don't blame him, but it's just a cynical product. So big thumbs down for this Minecraft texture pack of a movie. As someone who defended Pixar's early 2020 run, like Turning Red and Soul, I'm just disappointed. Like, I get it. His flaw is his superpower. But this was weightless and boring and predictable. Between this and Elemental, I'm losing hope in Pixar. Bring Her Back. Okay. Do not kill me, horror heads. Anytime I look online and it's someone who's a big horror fan, this is always top 5. And I really liked their first movie, Talk to Me. I thought it was fun, propulsive, and just felt like this trip to hell. But their follow-up, it's just a very self-serious and dry movie that honestly plays things very straightforward. The plot isn't very interesting, but then every once in a while they pepper in like a child eating a knife or wood or something to shock you, to give something for somebody to talk about, or for like the studio to film people like screaming or freaking out. It doesn't feel like it was woven in organically or adds to the story. They don't remotely contribute to the ritualistic demon horror that the Philippi brothers are clearly very enthusiastic about, and it just kind of flubs on everything that made Talk to Me interesting or engaging. So, yeah. Bro, can we stop having action protagonists walk into like a carnival, like a House of Mirrors fun house thing, where they're looking around trying to find the guy they're trying to kill, and they just see 100 different versions mirrored of themselves. We've seen this so many times. No more of this. This is the last time I want to see this in a movie. The Running Man. The Edgar Wright fall off needs to be studied. Glenn Powell in this movie is just he's just so angry. He gave me a headache in this. Atropia. I saw this at Sundance. I won the grand prize, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. It turns out Celine Song is just really into this movie, and she was head of the jury. It doesn't work as a satire, a comedy, a war film, a drama, a romance. This is just the kind of movie that's really crazy and out there, but it's boring, and this type of movie cannot be boring. Death of a Unicorn. I love that the Met, shout out to the Met, Cloisters tapestries were used as actual research by Jenna Ortega's character to prove that unicorns were real and beasts looking for revenge. That was fun to me. I like how that was woven in, and the design of the CGI unicorns was pretty fun. But this was a really flat, eat the rich satire. Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning. The Mission Impossible franchise is one that means a lot to me. I love those movies. They combine like old school filmmaking, jackass level of commitment to stunts, gags, and like a really good ensemble into something that's really fresh and something that no other franchise is doing. It was a huge disappointment. They blew it. I felt like the Entity wrote this as well. It has the incredible biplane stunt, and I left the theater on a high because that stunt is like otherworldly, but everything else is tedious. Jurassic World Rebirth. This reminds me of one of those rides at Universal where a bunch of dinosaurs chomp in your direction for a close call, and then they move you to another environment where a bunch of dinosaurs are chomping at you, and you're like, dinosaur, but there's never any real threat. Nothing feels lived in or actually scary. Like, this type of thing should feel feral and like that anyone can go at any moment, and sweaty and hot, but it's just kind of bland. Hamnet puts the to not to be and to be or not to be. I know this is a movie that people love and were emotionally affected by, but these weepies where there's like an amazing performance that feels engineered for Oscar love just do not work for me. I'm a crier at the movies, but my tear ducts were drier than ever. Just not for me. Jay Kelly. Jay Kelly, sorry, no. Deep into feel bad for super rich guy territory. The word puppy is said like a million times, and it just really annoyed me. I'm surprised the talent involved didn't make something more interesting, but after something like Sentimental Value, this just felt a little dry. The Bad Guys 2. These movies are just, what if bad guy good? Frankenstein. This is just not for me. Guillermo del Toro is really talented at like big budget action horror filmmaking, but that just patters out and this turns into a costume drama. And I think the beauty of adaptation is you can take it, for a book this old, you can take it in any direction. And this just felt like it couldn't commit anywhere. Like Del Toro can't help but doing What If Scary Monster had Heart of Gold. It works in his other movies, but it felt tedious here. I just think if you're gonna go for the Elephant Man, go all in. The Beautiful Craft isn't enough to make me engaged with this. Okay, Queens of the Dead. I feel like camp is getting really diluted as a term, and it's being coined as a genre, and this just felt pretty flat. I really liked the cast of characters, but I just need more gags. It reminded me of Y2K last year, where it didn't have the energy or the jokes or writing that it should have had, and it was just kind of going for camp. The House. Is this thing on? It was off. Why did everyone treat stand-up comedy like it was illegal cockfighting or something? Like, all these people live in New York, but no one knows what stand-up is. Boggles my mind. Housemaid. Continues Sydney Sweeney's project of convincing me she's not into acting. A lot of time confused on why the protagonists act the way they do. until a really lame twist, and then everything is explained to you. It just could have been a lot better. Needed to take more notes from Thanksgiving rather than Scream 6. It kind of felt like a Ryan Murphy show at the same time. I never thought a movie would need to take notes from Eli Roth, but here we are. The guy next to me, after every mile marker because they walk like 1 billion miles in this movie, the very first mile marker, he was like, damn, whew. And I was like, Buddy is gonna be in for a long ride. And by the end, he was exhausted. He was just like, oh my, another? They're gonna keep going? It was really entertaining. But this is just kind of like Francis Lawrence's continued exploration of the dystopian genre, and it's just hard to have any juice when you know who the two final main characters will be, and then the ending kind of destroys any goodwill I had towards the idea. I saw this at Sundance 2023. It's been forever, and I think it was going to be positioned for awards, but then Jonathan Majors turns out to be guilty of a lot of things in this movie, so it makes sense that this was buried. It's just a Taxi Driver ripoff. It didn't do much. Drop. Hits all the Blumhouse modern horror movie checkboxes, but it needed to be funnier or scarier. But it's an idiotic fun time. I enjoyed it. This is the found family Predator movie, and I don't know if I need that from my Predator movies. It's a lot cuter from what I want from a Predator movie, and it reminds me of Jack the Giant Slayer. Not really, but as in a movie that I saw in middle school with a bunch of friends. You know, middle schoolers need movies too. This is not me being condescending. Like, I think this is a perfect movie for that crowd. This movie has 2011 World of Warcraft animation paired with Illumination's sense of humor. Silly character designs that I enjoyed, like a pig that sculpts things with his ears. That was cool. I'm into that. But the humor just deflates us quite a bit when Studio Ghibli movies exist. They stoop to a level that I don't think they have to. Oh, hi. Just desperately needed to pick a tone. A movie about Jennifer Lawrence wanting to get a cat, but she can't get one, so she becomes one. I thought this movie was gorgeous and really punk and really cool, but a little too abstract for me. It didn't fully connect. Fantastic Four: First Steps. The first act of this is surprisingly pretty compelling. It looks great, like the retro 50s sci-fi aesthetic they're going for. I think they did pretty well. And I love how the Fantastic Four look, especially The Thing. I think this is the first movie where he doesn't just look silly. Like, Pedro Pascal plays this part deathly serious. I think it was a studio note because it makes no sense. The movie loses juice as it goes and turns into kind of a gray, flat Marvel movie, which is just hard to get into when you see like James Gunn's Superman, which is like so full of color and heart and energy. Caught stealing. Stars Tonic the Cat, one of our great next movie stars. I hope they get no allegations soon. It was hard for me to not enjoy this in my New York City cat rock music baseball era. So there was a lot for me to enjoy. Life of Chuck. This movie started like the first third, all of the 39 great years, thanks Chuck. Like all these billboards that were created for this movie were really cool, really well designed, really intriguing, but it lost energy. It got worse as it went. Anything that reminds me of an audiobook isn't going to work for me. The narration just does not work, and Mark Hamill also does not work in this. Predator: Killer of Killers. The Predators franchise is back with an all-animated adventure, but why did all the Predators look just like Mark Henry? This comes to mind because I was a kid that looked through a million WWE books as a kid, even though I had no interest in the WWE, and Mark Henry's face has always stood out to me, and I forgot about him until I watched this movie. DJ Ahmet. The sheep yearn for mid-2000s rave music. This was cute. K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm glad everyone had so much fun with this movie. I don't have that much to add to it. Besides, I think the songs are really catchy. And let's talk about this guy. Who is he? I need a full movie. I need spin-offs of this character. He came out of nowhere with this little pigeon, and I also saw them. I saw them at the New York, the Thanksgiving Macy's parade float, and I was pumped. Beautiful design. Great looking creatures. Companion. Throw this into Black Mirror Season 7 and I would not bat an eye. Prime Minister. This tells the story of Jacinda, who was the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and this is likely a piece of propaganda, but it touched my heart considering like the leader we have here in America and being like, oh, they can be humans, they can be real. So I enjoyed this. I felt good. Felt good leaving this movie, being 6'2", I have a hairline, and I'm broke. This movie tells me I will be just fine. I found this to be a deeply weird movie and pivot after past lives. It just takes the craziest tone switch that I've ever seen. It doesn't land it, but the humor and the events that transpire in this movie are such a 180, like it gave me whiplash. This movie bravely asks, what if a Nathan For You concept was played seriously? And it resulted in a pretty cute movie, so yeah. On Becoming a Guinea Fowl. This has a banger of an opening, and I loved the ending as well. It's really metaphorical and unique. It has a really loud voice for such a small movie. I do wish the middle stuff impacted me more, but I walked away really liking this. The Legend of Ochi. The director and designer of some of Bjork's music videos, especially during her Volta era, is the director of this movie, Isaiah Saxon, and I'm a huge fan of Bjork and the worlds that she creates and is in for her music videos. I was just in the bag for this. If you're gonna put a weird little freaky, cute alien monkey puppet in your movie, I'm in. I'm gonna like it. Dangerous Animals. This is a movie where Jai Courtney plays a serial killer who feeds the victims to sharks. He's going against a Jennifer Lawrence clone. This is a good thing. I think Jennifer Lawrence is lovely and we should have more actresses like her. It really works. It's very lean and old school and fun. So yeah, I had a good time with this. The Roses. Honestly, really different from what the trailers prepared me for. You can't have Andy Samberg be in your movie and be this unfunny, or Kate McKinnon be this bad. But I think Cumberbatch and Coleman were wonderful in this, and this has a lot of clever and savvy humors with design and interior architecture. The lengths they will go through with building a Frank Lloyd Wright-ass museum, and the bits they'll go through with that, and there's a lot of interior design humor in this that I really liked. I thought this was fresh, and it is something that would make $1 billion in 2004. So I like that energy coming back. If you like Jeff Buckley's music, this will be for you. Really beautiful and honest portrayal of his life. I found it really moving and interesting. Just hearing Lover, You Should Have Come Over over video of Jeff Buckley is, I'm in. I'm in. And something weird I thought was there was a part where it was like a bunch of musicians, like quotes from musicians on how great Jeff Buckley was. Like it was like Robert Plant and David Bowie, Paul McCartney being like, Jeff Buckley is amazing. And then Brad Pitt as well. And I was like, why Brad Pitt? And then at the end it was like produced by Brad Pitt, so it makes sense. Presence. Steven Soderbergh's latest experimentation that I found pretty cool. It's about a ghost that does not rock with roofing people, so that's cool. Good Fortune, the most political movie of the year, starring Keanu Reeves as a guardian angel. Casting did great with this. Keanu Reeves should be playing an angel. That is who he is. And I love Seth Rogen and really anything, so I had a great time. I do think Aziz Ansari and Keke Palmer should have switched roles. He's not good at acting. He brings this thing down quite a bit, but I liked it. It's a movie that's about, hey, life is good sometimes. We get tacos. I can get behind that message. Me and my girlfriend got tacos after, and it was lovely. So, shout out to this movie. Cat Williams is a national treasure in this movie. It is worth it for him alone. The Ballad of Wallace Island. Cute. If there's any movie to take your parents to, like if your parents see one movie a year, this is the one. This is the one to take him to. It's about a eccentric lottery winner who buys a ticket for his favorite band to come play for him, and it's a wonderful coastal setting and a really feel-good drama. The SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. Hear me out. Was very skeptical going into this, and I felt that way sitting there for a little bit too. But I love the first SpongeBob movie. It's really inventive and embraces a chaotic and weird sense of humor that like has no right being in a kids show, but it really works. That spirit has gone away over the years as like the creator has Steven Hillenburg has died. But this, I feel like it kind of returns to that old magic. Like there's a lot of moments in here that reminds me of when David Hasselhoff shows up in SpongeBob SquarePants, like the original 2004 movie, and like as a water jet for them, and puts SpongeBob and Patrick in his chest and shoots them out through his pecs. Like this movie has that energy throughout it, and that's all I'm really asking for. Highest to lowest. I love Spike Lee, and this is his movie about his anxiety about trap music. This has some of the worst needle drops ever and could only be made by Spike Lee in his 60s, and I love it for that. It's also a movie that really hates Boston and loves New York. And A$AP Rocky is phenomenal in this movie, and I love the music he created for this as well. So yeah, I had a really good time with this. Together. It's a perfect amount of horror that adds to the creepiness but without taking anything away, and it's an excellent premise. I'm not convinced on Dave Franco as a serious performer, but he doesn't take too much away from this, and this is one of the funniest endings of the year. Like I could not stop laughing. So yeah, this was a great time. The Phoenician Scheme. Wes Anderson, wherever you want to take me, I'll go. Some of the best designed and interesting looking movies I'll see. This one was a little flatter for me in terms of like plot and how I was engaged, but I thought it was great. Michael Cera is hilarious in this. So yeah, Wes, I'll go where it'll take me. F1. Very fun, but really, no Moo Moo Meadow cows in this. This is a year where we are celebrating our most iconic racer, the Moo Moo Meadows cow. And he's nowhere to be found. Not even a cameo, not even an Easter egg. What are we doing? Come on. Black Bag. Another Steven Soderbergh movie I don't have much to say with besides I loved it. And I replay the scene where Michael Fassbender is cooking and steam fogs up his glasses. and it's such a cool shot. And I don't know, it like it like shows up in my head every time I'm cooking. So that was sick. Sometimes you just need one cool thing, and a movie will stick with you forever. It features a beautiful ending to a biting and violent and mean satire. Formally so impressive. The way the camera moves and dollies around and elevates the stakes, and like it'll be focused on two characters and then slowly move up and you see them from a different angle. It's moving in a like calculated and dialed way that I've never seen before. It's so cool. It manages 6 different genres that are paired together in a way that really works and turns into a Hitchcockian slapstick thriller. You know, on paper, this should be a top 5 movie for me. Weirdly enough, and this is when you need to remember that I'm a dumb, flawed human, is The Craft kind of holds this thing back. It felt too dialed. The story was based off of what cool shots they could get, and when everything is this perfect, what hits? Warfare, the newest film from Alex Garland in his 2010 Catherine Bigelow era. I don't mind this detour he's taken as much as other people do. I love a scene where it's just somebody looking through a sniper forever. It's like really captivating. It reminded me of my days in Verdansk more than anything. One time, me and my cousin, we were the last 2 in a game of Warzone. It was us 2. And we were telling each other, like, we gotta split. Because if we are split up from each other and there's only one guy left, we can kill him. We can be the last guy, we can get a dub. And we just stuck on each other like white on rice. And the guy just shot us and the bullet went through both of us. And there is a moment in this movie that reminded me of watching Verdansk. Do not stick with your partner like white on rice. I, too, would risk my Toys R Us hideout and peanut M&M's stash for a middle-aged, church-going Kirsten Dunst who likes to get freaky on a walk. You know, I would do it too. I don't blame Channing Tatum's decisions in this movie, and I thought this was really fun. Afterwards, me and my girlfriend went to a bar and I told her about like everything that happens in this movie. She's always so critical of product placement in a movie. Like, if we watch a movie and she sees anything, she'll be like, Coke ad. And I told her about all the peanut M&Ms in this, and she was like, I'm really craving peanut M&Ms. And we went and got peanut M&Ms after, so it worked on her. This is the first movie to get her like that. I'm also very concerned that this movie didn't make $150 million. Like, how is this not a movie connecting to audiences? This was sponsored by Peanut M&M. Ethos. This movie forces you to reminisce of your life at a different time. And all the baseball players, you know, in this movie, they're playing their last game and they don't want it to end. And they keep postponing it and postponing it. And it's really beautiful. There's a scene where one of the guys, they tell their wife, bases are loaded, don't the kids want to see this? You know, that reminds me of, like, you know, a guy's passion to share their hobbies and interests with their family, and, you know, not wanting to let go of the current chapter of your life. I think this brilliantly depicts this in a similar way that Richard Linklater would. That really touched me. You know, like, I would love a moment where I could kick it with my college or high school buddies again, and like picturing like what we used to listen to, what we used to eat, what we used to do, and you know, I would give anything to have a little bit of that back. And you don't often realize, like, this is the last moment it's going to be like this, but this captures that feeling where a bunch of guys realize this is the last time this is going to happen. And it's their last time because the baseball field is turning into a school. I like that it's not some evil hotel chain is tearing it down. You know, it's something dramatic. Sometimes in life, you know, baseball field's got to come down and something better for the community has to go up. I thought this was really mature and insightful. Freaky Tales. This movie may and probably did get some flack for wearing its influences on its sleeves. Like, it's really a combination of Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction, Repo Man, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and packaged together nicely. I like those 4 movies and thought this was a great time. It connects all these different stories from the Bay with this strange green glow. It feels very psychedelic. Like, its stories range from Too Short having hip-hop battles to punk kids stomping on neo-Nazis to a psychic NBA revenge story. You know, I thought this was cool. It wasn't fresh and new, but I liked it. This is what I love about the illustrious Predator franchise. You know, this is their 3rd film in the year 2025. But in this one, we get a nuanced and complex breakdown of Chris Hansen and the TV show How to Catch a Predator on Dateline. It's a really interesting perspective and nuanced take of voyeurism in our television shows. Is voyeurism okay if it's a show ruining the lives of people who committed heinous crimes? It makes you think a lot, and it's a documentary that really handles these subjects well and shows the lengths that the Predator franchise will go to be daring and original. Eternity. What would you choose between what you've had or what you could have had? I had a good sense of humor. All the jokes about the Korean War were really funny. I thought Miles Teller was really good in this. I thought Elizabeth Olsen, I didn't think had much to do, but I had fun. This is a great graphic design movie. There's a million different brochures that are super well designed for different like afterlives that could exist, like Cowboy Land or Clown Land or whatever. And it's the type of movie that I'd really like to work on. Friendship. A movie about losing your wife in the sewer. A movie about being the friend who can't hang. A movie about ordering Black Forest ham at Subway. This has the funniest joke of 2025. I am not being exaggerative. I laughed for about 10 minutes after the joke. I missed jokes after because I thought it was so funny. This really sold me on Tim Robinson. I liked him, but this like made it click even more. The Smashing Machine features the highly specific obsession with 2000s men's fashion that Benny Safdie's clearly really into. Like, every 5 minutes you'll see the coolest t-shirt ever made. A movie should be able to win costume design for t-shirts. The t-shirts in this are outstanding. I thought Dwayne The Rock Johnson was unreal in this movie. This is not where I wanted Benny to go after Uncut Gems, but with a movie we'll talk about later, there's a lot of clarity between the duo and what they're interested in. And so I like this movie a lot for what it is. I think it has a great score, and Dwayne deserves a nod. He's on a similar wavelength of Adam Sandler and Robert Pattinson in their Safdie Bros movies. I also met Benny Safdie at a Q&A for this movie. I got a really cool poster for it, and he signed it, so that was awesome. Zootopia 2. Thoroughly charming. In a world of live-action, gray Disney remakes, this is just such a zippy and confident and colorful little world. There's so many jokes in this. Like, I have found out that I think mice are so funny. Like, every gag with mice just cracks me up. Like, any hijinks, like them operating a vending machine or having a elephant as a partner, like, I'm just slapping my knee. I'm so into anything with mice. And Link's succession is the greatest idea. Like, bravo on that. This tells the story of Ann Lee, who was propped up as the female Jesus Christ by the Shaker movement, and I don't blame them. I bet they had never seen a girl get down like this. They had never seen moves to this caliber. It is impressive. Sumi, I think this should have been a Les Mis situation where there was no dialogue. I only wanted the music. The soundtrack for this thing goes so hard. Like, it is unbelievably hard. The dance choreography and the music is so intoxicating and hypnotic that it's a movie that leaves you cold with its characters, and I don't care because this thing goes so hard. And it made me realize it's good I'm not a director, because I definitely would have put I Just Wanna Rock by Lil Uzi Vert in this movie. I think it would fit well. I know it would fit very well. The voice of Heen Rajib. This is a movie about Red Crescent phone line operators who get a call about a girl who is in distress in the Gaza war. She's in a car and needs help. And there's a part where the phone operator is like on the verge of leaving, like she needs to leave work, she's off. And then she realizes the price of a human life and is like, she takes off her jacket and is like, I'm with you. It really touched me. It's really beautiful. And it also kind of plays like a thriller. It's a really entertaining movie about something very serious. It blends reality and fiction really well in a really smart way. That I think most people, if they had these ideas, they would just make it a documentary or an investigative piece of journalism, but the way this handles it is beautiful. It's a movie about how adults complicate things in a way that's not necessary. You know, we should have a childlike reaction to death or tragedies, and I found this to be a really boundary-pushing way of communicating that message. One day I will make a video of my favorite alien and creature designs. I love to see how a director will interpret them, how they'll have them look, how they'll have them act. And this movie delivers on a delightful little freak. I love the aliens in this movie, and the only thing to out-freak them is Robert Pattinson's performance and accent. It is incredible. I love this. I wish it got more attention. Save the critters, kill the rich. Wake Up Dead Man. Young, dumb, and full of Jesus. I've been hearing a lot of people hitting the bell of Rian Johnson, you know, we've had enough, do other things, but no one does a whodunit like him, and we don't really get these movies. Let him keep making these, just not for Netflix. Josh O'Connor and Daniel Craig's characters really thoughtfully delve into logic, faith, and reason, and it has a lot of kindness for people who do believe in Christianity, but coming from a voice that clearly doesn't. It has a kindness towards people. There's a scene with Josh O'Connor answering a phone call that was really beautiful and touching. You'll know when you see it or if you've seen it. Yeah, I think these movies are really unique. Lurker features the great quote from Zach Fox. If you were in World War II, you'd be begging for rations. I'd be selling drugs. Colorful, razor sharp, and warm rather than the dark and upsetting Nightcrawler. It takes a really specific time in Los Angeles influencer culture in a similar way that Uncut Gems looks into like 2010 as a period piece with like Rich Homie Quan and Kevin Garnett, and like 2010 iOS finds ways to make something contemporary a period piece. I think this is equally successful in doing that. I saw a Letterboxd review that said this was a Gen Z Mr. Talented Ripley, and I fully agree with that, and that's a good thing. The Monkey. This utilizes my favorite slasher trope, which is Final Destination randomness, but it utilizes it through a really freaky monkey. There's just so many fun kills in this. The sleeping bag aftermath one is like just delightfully unhinged. I don't know, I feel like this movie got no love. I feel like people have Oz Perkins fatigue, and maybe I do because I didn't even see Keeper, but I thought this was great. I think Oz Perkins has a really refreshing and punk attitude. Like even like his posters, like the typography for these I think are really cool. They're breaking, like the Longlegs one breaks rules in a way that is just really cool and intentional and delightful, and I think that transfers to his movies. Speaking of Final Destination, we got the best installment in the franchise. It's one of those horror franchises that I've seen all the movies a couple times. I'm a fan. This one, like the pitch for these movies are, what if we took like really expansive and crazy set designs that belong in a Mission Impossible movie, but if they went horrifically wrong? And that's awesome. The kills in this are crazy. It's a rare horror franchise that finds a way to subvert expectations and gets better with a bigger budget. The cast here is really likable. Like Final Destination 2, for example, has like the famous log scene, but the cast just is so annoying, and it's hard to want to live in that world. But in this one, like you find yourself rooting for them, and it ties together past threads in a way that doesn't feel annoying in the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker way. It just adds to it. James Caan is the king of portraying animals in an empathetic way. There's a giant monster in this. The movie just feels so bad that they're attacking it. In a similar way that we felt bad for Starro and Suicide Squad, or the animals in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. He's a capital A auteur, and where he carries over his same themes and ideas to every movie. It's so obvious what he cares about. I have so much time for this take. 40s Saturday morning cartoon with a bowl of cereal that is very earnest. This movie gives attention to Lois and Clark Kent arguing for 10 minutes about serious issues that any other movie would have cut out, and I think it's really stellar stuff. It's not embarrassed to be a superhero movie. Superhero movies are notoriously nerds wearing really tight clothes. Let's not take them too seriously. And this doesn't, but without insulting its subject matter. Lois is an equal rather than a plot device. Everything that she says is heard and acknowledged with genuine sincerity. This wraps up the idea of Superman and the burden of not being able to belong anywhere. It has so much levels to it, and I thought this was lovely. The Perfect Neighbor. This is a documentary about stand your ground laws in Florida, and it's harrowing. It is the hardest you'll cry all year, but I think it's a really important watch. It depicts the anger that comes from racism perfectly, and how people that are racist are acting like it's out of fear instead of anger, when it's the other way around. Should win Best Doc at the Oscars. At least I hope it does. Twinless. This stars Dylan O'Brien 2 times over, and what was the buzziest Sundance movie. It was so hard to see this when I was there because people were clamoring to see it because of reasons unrelated to the movie. But this movie stars Dylan O'Brien playing twins, and it rivals Michael B. Jordan's Sinners performance. The Sinners one is still better, but this performance is genuinely very good. It's 2 totally different characters, and they don't carry over really any of the same mannerisms. This blends a lot of genres and is effortlessly creative, thrilling, and entertaining. I thought this was just a bro rom-com, but instead it goes in so many different directions that you never would have expected. Oh, hey Ghost. Say hi, Ghost. This is my cat. If you get off a long day of work and just want something that's just crazy and fun and full of twists and turns and is watchable, this is the first thing I would recommend to anybody. The Naked Gun. Exhaustingly fun. This is the funniest movie of the year. Liam Neeson does the correct thing of just playing every line straight. Akiva Schaffer should be able to make a movie like this every other year. This is why I want to go to the movies, is to be in a crowd of people just laughing so hard. It was a joyous experience, and I genuinely was missing jokes because Caroline would whisper something to me that she found funny. The audience would be laughing so hard where a rewatch is necessary because it's just breakneck, a joke every single second. A lot of people were a little cynical about this because it's existing IP, but Akiva Schaffer, the part of Lonely Island with Andy Samberg, and he brings his own sense of humor and vision to this movie that did not exist in the original ones. There's this extended sequence with Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson, and they're building a snowman, and the snowman turns evil, and the movie gives a lot of time for a really surreal SNL sketch. It was really daring, and this is just a joyful experience. Go see it. Prime time, Ethan Hawke and Richard Linklater magic. Everyone is on stilts around Ethan Hawke. He is a little dwarf in this movie. What a real one for being enthusiastic about being a little gremlin that is drinking 12 martinis, obsessing about Margaret Qualley. That's an awesome role. This has truly great writing and characters, and Stuart Little gets introduced in this movie like an MCU character, and that's why we go to the movies, baby. It is so funny. It's it has it before Sunrise Magic, where every single line just captivates me. It's really good stuff. My favorite part of the Q&A I attended was Ethan Hawke. He said 13 years ago, he called Richard Linklater and said, let's make the movie. I'm ready to do Blue Moon, because they've planned this out for a long time. And then Richard Linklater said, no, girls still want to sleep with you, not yet. And then recently Richard Linklater was watching The Tonight Show and saw Ethan Hawke there, and he calls him and goes, all right, you're ready for Blue Moon. Let's get started. So, yeah, awesome movie. Avatar: Fire and Ash. Never doubt James Cameron. Whales have subtitles in papyrus. Na'vi that look Republican. Sliding down alien squid balloons. Putting your alien dreadlock brain and letting spores and mushrooms rewire your brain. This is crazy stuff. For as much as like people say that this is just Pocahontas or Ferngully reskinned, do not understand how crazy and daring and fun these movies are. I think we'll look at this series very positively, like we do Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, and being something that was really fresh and a big action spectacle. Splitsville. This is the biggest surprise of the year for me. The two main characters here, they wrote and directed this movie, and they cast themselves to be with women 40 times hotter than themselves, and I respect it. There is a level of commitment to slapstick humor in this. There will be a 20-minute choreographed fight scene that could be in a Bruce Lee movie. There are bits in this thing that made me dying laughing. Like the opening is something you cannot prepare for. Screwball, unpredictable, sexy, well written, and goes off the rails in ways you cannot predict. I can't recommend this enough. Black News, Terms and Conditions. Really unique movie that makes me want to create, live life, see the world through a new lens, look through old textbooks and history, and applying old lessons to make me a better person now. It's really impressionistic, features song Telekinesis over the title card with Flying Lotus chopped and screwed in the background. There's just a lot of creative decisions here that felt like this thing had to take so long to make. It's exhaustingly meticulous. So if you watch, just put your phone away and just lock in, because if you do, it will really reward you. It's like the Tree of Life, but for the Whitney and the Black experience. One of the coolest theater experiences I've had, and I'm glad I got to see this at the Egyptian in Park City, since Park City is no longer hosting Sundance. Sorry Baby. Speaking of Park City, me and all my friends saw this at our Airbnb in between screenings. In the morning, we had heard great things about it. We hadn't originally had it on our schedule, and we watched it on an early Sunday morning, and we're just delighted. This is such a beautiful movie. Ava Victor stars, writes, and directs this, her first feature film, and it feels like it came from a master. The non-linear storytelling isn't a gimmick. It adds beautifully to the story, and it feels like it couldn't have been told in any other way. It has a really sharp sense of humor. Lucas Hedges shows up in this thing, and it leads to a really funny couple of interactions. Also, this is not a movie about a cat, like everyone thinks it is, because all the posters and promotional material showed a cat. There's not a cat dying in this movie. That's not a spoiler. It handles a really serious subject matter with a lot of heart. Weapons. 17 kids running into the darkness. George Harrison's Beware of the Darkness plays as the kids run off into a dark suburbia. A creepy kid gives a monologue about what is happening, these events that are transpiring in this town, and why all these students disappeared in a classroom. It's the best setup for a movie in so long, and Zach Cregger delivers. Barbarian is one of my favorite movies of the decade. I've seen it 5 times, so I was pumped for this. Yeah, he's got the goods. He's got the juice. Wins the award for the most electric time in a packed theater. It's just, he has this rock and roll energy about him where it's like a roller coaster ride, you know? You're going up and down, you get a second to breathe, and then something crazy happens and everyone's just like, oh shit, no, don't do that. It's just so much fun. Train Dreams. Train Dreams. This is an extraordinarily beautiful movie. A dead tree is just as important as a living one. Train Dreams. This is an extraordinarily beautiful movie. A dead tree is just as important as a living one. It explores the kinship that we have to the world around us. It's very serene. The cinematography is beautiful. It made me take a long 45-minute walk home instead of my typical zippy 20-minute subway ride, because I was like, I just need to think, you know? It's that kind of movie. It made me feel like comforted. Like being a small thing in a big city, it felt comforting after this movie, rather than scary. It was just like a warm hug for a quite devastating movie. Maybe I just pulled from a lot of the positive aspects. And William H. Macy's performance in this is incredible. Pavements. This is a movie that you kind of have to be in on the joke of, or like know about Pavement to really enjoy. They're one of my favorite bands ever, so I love this. This combines a biopic with a museum exhibition at the Whitney, a Broadway musical play, and a documentary, all like joined together to show what Pavement is and the spirit and energy behind their music. This is the most Pavement way to do them justice. You know, like rather than just like a classic biopic, like covering some artist, this is free forming and combining all these different forms of media to really do them justice. And it's really funny as well. They have a fictional premiere for a movie like called Range Life starring Joe Keery, and they premiered at like the Nighthawk. And then this exhibition is in the Whitney. It's very New York. It's just a great time. I love this movie. Sentimental value. This movie, it connects us to the places we call home and how they relate to our memories, even long after we've left our home. Like the house in this movie is framed so beautiful that it's a character on its own. It's like it doesn't need some strings or piano to make us feel something. The way this thing is shot is so impressive, and all the characters, the way they are communicating and connecting with each other, it's a melodrama, but really sharp. I really like Joachim Trier's perspective and how he sees the world. There's a moment where they create like a fake movie, like a movie within this movie that like Stellan Skarsgård's character directed, and they play a little bit of that movie. And whenever that's done, I feel like it typically feels really fakey, or like something with like a Netflix sheen over it, because they're making a movie for a movie, so it doesn't need to be perfect. But I was like sucked into this movie, and they put you in it randomly, so you don't know what's happening. You just know it's a period piece, so it's kind of a left field decision. And then it slowly like pans out and shows like Stellan Skarsgård is watching his own movie at a film festival, and I was like, wow, that was really well done. And yeah, it blew me away. It's a really sweet movie that had me thinking about every place I've lived and what I've gained from them and why I am who I am. 28 years later, there is a surprisingly heartfelt moment that features a man placing a skull on top of a bone pyramid, or bone temple, if you will. And I thought it was going to be the ending of this movie. I was not prepared for the ending of this movie. If you know, you know. This movie is so cool. It's shot on an iPhone, and it literally helped me start this YouTube channel, because I was like, if you can make that movie on an iPhone, I can film videos with an iPhone. I don't need to get fancy equipment, because the editing and the energy and the colors, this thing is just alive. And that Young Fathers soundtrack and score just blew me away. I listen to it all the time. It's super, super cool. The first third of this movie is really scary and features some moments that genuinely gave me chills. And then the second part, it's really heartwarming. And the third part, it's silly. But every time they make this change, I don't miss the old part. I am like accepting the movie for free flowing in the way it needs to. And I think it just turns into just a near perfect movie at the end. Next is Resurrection. This is a movie that will make you fall asleep in parts and reward you for it, maybe the first ever. This movie just feels like a distant dream that I had, that I don't know if it was real, but I loved that dream. And the fact that it didn't make sense adds to it. Trying to put it together, it doesn't really help. It's cool thinking of it as this abstract, dreamlike, hallucinatory experience. It's an anthology, and so like your mileage may vary with which story works for you and which doesn't. This has image making that will stay with you until your next dream, spatially and spiritually. And my dreams are going to be a lot cooler after having seen this. Next is It Was Just an Accident. This was the Palm winner this year. It's a great time. I adored this. It's a film about anger and how it's connected to empathy or violence, and the person we are will show the decisions we make to someone who wronged us. And it made me and my girlfriend on a walk home have a really insightful discussion about these topics that felt healing, and it felt great to talk about. But while still being like humanistic and like smart and a little didactic at times, it's still like a down the middle thriller and funny that I think any audience could enjoy. It has two endings. One made me cry. I was really touched by it, and the other one like gave me like hair standing on my back, being like really nervous. It makes you have sympathy for people clearly in the wrong. It makes you have sympathy for people who are clearly in the wrong, which is insane. For that, this is coming from a man who directed, the guy who directed this movie, Jafar Panahi, is going to be arrested just for making this movie when he returns back to his country. So it's just a very human and interesting film. Sinners. Man, you just had to be there. I'm gonna read my Letterboxd entry for this because I feel like I put it pretty well. Pretty perfect as far as erotic, musical horror, historical, neo-western, southern gothic, vampire, pro-cunnilingus, jukebox joints thrillers go. You don't even need the vampires. The short story, music, characters, everything just rips so hard. Everything about this is done with such precision. Michael B. Jordan playing these two twins here was phenomenal. I love the score and the theme they had whenever they were riding in a car together. The way that music is basically what this movie's about. And this has, like, good lord, the IMAX aspect ratio change in this movie had me floating. Eddington. Ari Aster's latest movie feels like this picture. Tell me it does not feel like this. This is the perfect representation of this movie. Ari Aster is so good at creating alternate realities that feel like surreal but eerily plausible. Like you could see these worlds existing. And this one, in fact, that it's about COVID-19, which is such an idea for a movie that makes me roll my eyes. But when you see this movie, you may roll your eyes, but I loved it. I ate up every second of this. This and Beau is Afraid are both chock full of brands and institutions that parody late-stage capitalism in a way that it's really insightful. His movies have such a way of capitalizing on existential dread and the strange world around us. He has a very Tati-esque way of populating every corner of the screen with gags and little jokes and signage and typography and image making that is just really thought out and clever. Like Playtime is one of my favorite movies, and this and Beau is Afraid really remind me of those. Like just a bumper sticker saying "You're being manipulated" with the E missing it just captures the idea of this movie and its sense of humor and how politics just confuse us rather than uniting us. And a shout out to Joaquin Phoenix. I wish he was getting more love in the Oscars because he's so good at limping and shrieking around all confused and being manipulated and wondering where he is and how he got here. I think he's phenomenal in this performance, and I think he should get more love. It's a mean movie, but I believe Ari Aster thinks these characters are doing what's best for them and he isn't looking down at them. because that like there's a faceless corporation pitting them against each other in a way that they don't see as happening. And I love the visual humor just packed in everything here, like him having a giant machine gun and shooting it but missing because he has COVID-19 like trouble breathing, and so he's missing everything, like just no notes. It's just so sharp, and I think this thing will age super well. When everyone was concerned it wouldn't age well. The Secret Agent. I'm thrilled to live in a world where this is a frontrunner for all the best foreign films at the awards shows. It's an esoteric, weird, paranoid, sweaty thriller taking place in a really interesting time in Brazil. The tagline for this movie is 1977 in Brazil, a time of great mischief. There's something about that that's really alluring and interesting, and it really fits this movie. I love the main theme of society forgetting what's inconvenient and the difficulty of keeping memories alive. Especially the more online we are, the harder it is to keep these memories alive, for whatever reason that is. The symbolism of the cat, the shark, the hairy leg, and how it all ties into this exact specific time period in Brazil is all really memorable stuff. It felt like such a lived-in and mysterious world. I was really sucked into this, and I didn't want it to end. It reminds me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is a big compliment. This is a movie that I think is so clever in its setup, where it can only have two endings. Either Emma Stone is an alien, or she's not an alien. And the whole movie is going to make you think okay, she's definitely not an alien. Oh, but that's what they want me to think. So, no, I think she is an alien. It was no, but that's what they want me to think. You can keep going back and forth to the point where there's evidence on both sides. They're framing Jesse Plemons to look really crazy, but they're framing Emma Stone to look like a Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk crazy character who doesn't have a heart or soul, this type of CEO. And so you could see it, either of them being right, and whenever you start to side with the other, the scale gets tipped until you get tipped one way. And the ride this movie takes you on is so much fun. I got the ending I was wanting until I didn't and was sad, but in a good way. And it's a movie that's 100 million times more funny the longer you think about it, and clever. It doesn't fall apart like a lot of twist ending stuff do. Like on our way home, me and my friend were talking about it, and there's so many things that are funny in hindsight. It's just, I think this movie's brilliant, and obviously the design behind all the title cards and the poster. I'm going to be getting into that in a later video, but it's really cool stuff, and I love what Yorgos is doing, and this is a fantastic movie. If I had legs, I'd kick you. This was a movie I was very excited for. Mary Bronstein, starring Rose Byrne, Conan O'Brien. That just sounds like something that was made for me. I'm thrilled to say this movie's amazing. It's, a lot of people have said it's uncut gems from others, and that's totally true. And it makes it an interesting decision to not have too much of a score and shield the daughter's face. You're not seeing the daughter, you're just seeing everything from the mother's perspective, kind of erasing some of the character, all these faceless people around her, the dad and her daughter. It really puts you into this really anxiety-inducing, stressed out feeling that is why I think the Bronsteins and Safdies are so good at what they do. I thought this was still really funny. This has a puppet in it. There's a really good gag in this. Yeah, I thought this was really fresh. I can't wait to see it even for a third time. Number 2, One Battle After Another, baby. What else could it be? Or you're thinking it was going to be number 1? Seaman Demon, Nitpicking Prick, Christmas Adventurers, Ocean Waves, Just a Few Small Beers. This thing is so well written, so many funny little moments that you can just quote on. While I was watching this movie in the Lincoln Square IMAX, where it was meant to be seen, there's people leaving to get Modelo's and come back. This movie convinced people to spend $10 on a beer because
this movie had a Modelo in it. And I was tempted. I didn't do it, but I wanted to. Just because I couldn't miss out a minute of this movie. The camera following you down those hills in like the Death Valley area and that car chase, levitating. The camera work there is so good. Leonardo DiCaprio, this is one of his best performances. He's so good at being this bumbling idiot, moving his way around, but not too incompetent that you don't believe in him. And this movie also has such good intentions with the father and the daughter relationship. Benicio del Toro captured my heart. He is just so lovable in this movie. PTA grips you from the minute this starts and never lets go. It's exhilarating. Like the phone call scene where he's saying he's being nitpicking is one of the funniest things of the year. And it's a movie that deeply embarrasses white supremacists and fascists, and it can be subtle about it, but then it doubles down and just makes it to a thrill ride. I loved this movie. Everyone should see it. Alright, if you know me, this is not a surprise, but since this is my first video, it probably is a surprise. But number one, Marty Supreme. What else? What else could it be? What a celestial experience of a film. What a ride. I had never felt more alive after watching this movie. It made me feel like I could grab a Boeing plane, lift it over my head, and rip it in half. It is just like a shot of just dopamine into my system. I had the pleasure of attending the New York Film Festival secret screening to this movie. They announced it while I was at work. I missed the tickets immediately. The rumor was that it was going to be Marty Supreme, but all they said was it was a highly anticipated film of the end of the year that had not yet shown at a film festival, which eliminated everything except for Avatar: Fire and Ash, Wicked for Good, and Marty Supreme. I will pay resale. I will do what I have to do if it's Marty Supreme, because Uncut Gems is my personal favorite movie. It always has been since I've seen it. I've seen it 15 times. I love that movie. I quote it every day probably. And I had to see how he was going to follow up Uncut Gems. And so after a lot of refreshing, I finally found someone selling a ticket. Their friends didn't come at the last second. They sold it to me. I didn't have to pay too much. And I didn't go into this thinking it was going to be the best movie ever or the number one of the year. I was just really looking forward to it. But I still had reservations because, Josh's brother, Benny, his movie, The Smashing Machine, I thought was great. But nothing life-changing. It wasn't near Uncut Gems for me. I just thought it was a very good movie. And this movie blew me away. Josh Safdie, Ronald Bronstein, and Daniel Lopatin. That's Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. It is a trio. It is a trio that cannot be stopped. The adrenaline pumping nature of this movie is so addicting to me. It's a movie that's wondrously human, subtle, beautiful, and poignant, while still being cool, propulsive, and with so much swagger to it. It has such a mushy heart for the exterior of an unlikable New York protagonist trying to hit a lick on people. It's just it has a bigger heart than it has any right to. The music, the flutes, the synths, everything that Daniel Lopatin was able to cook up for this, I think it's just otherworldly. I cannot begin to describe how much I love this movie. The amount of characterization, truth, and personality that Josh Safdie is able to pump into literally every single line of dialogue astounds me. It makes me chuckle. Almost every line is that's funny or interesting. Timothée Chalamet is this is an all-time bet it all on me scumbag performance. I think he's unbelievable, but it's such an emotional and raw performance. There are scenes where he cries, and I cannot help but cry as well. I have cried 4 times watching this movie now. I think it has the best 5 minutes I've ever seen in a movie. That opening credit sequence and spoiler, possibly, not really, but sex scene that leads into something, and then the song Forever Young with a full kids choir backing it up. And I think it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It blows me away. I understand why it would not hit for other people in the way it does for me, but I think this movie's so goddamn cool. And the ending is just so beautiful. That it's similar to the Call Me By Your Name ending, where you're just like hit by a truck, but instead it's happy, and I think it's deserved. I think this is my favorite ensemble like I've seen in so long. The way they're able to get performances out of people like Kevin O'Leary and Tyler the Creator, who have never acted, and they give these performances, is incredible. Odessa Zion and Gwyneth Paltrow should be nominated for their performances, especially Odessa. There's a scene where she kind of tears up when Timothy's kind of being a jerk to her about pulling out, and her reaction to that is just like a simple face she made that is so human. And I don't know, this movie, I think you're misreading it if you see it as like this mean, cynical hustler movie. It has a lot in common with stuff like Jerry Maguire, Catcher in the Rye, Catch Me If You Can, and then also Uncut Gems. I think it's a really unique movie, and I think the marketing and design and materials for everything has been something that's really, it's inspired me. And I think it's the coolest shit ever, and everyone should go see this movie, go support this movie. I cannot wait for what Josh Safdie does next. I hope the next wait is not 6 years, but if it is, I will take 6-year wait. I do not care. Beautiful movie. I will probably talk about it again in another video, but that's it. I think that's everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is my first video, and moving forward, like I said, we're gonna try out a lot of different things. Talk a lot about it, design for music, books, albums, really anything with the meeting point of, you know, art and culture and design. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.